Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Grit. I am Jason Harwood. Over here with me is Jacob Litton. We're glad that you're joining us here. Hopefully it's on YouTube. Otherwise, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you choose to join us, that's great. We're trying to do more visual stuff on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, you'll be able to see us there. We also upload our video to Spotify. So the video version's on there. I know some of you check that out. Well, actually, a lot of you check that out. So if you continue to do that, we're trying to add more visual stuff as we go. And we're just learning. If you have any suggestions, we'd be glad to hear it. We are here to talk about the Lions and Buccaneers. This is the marquee matchup of the week. Could be a preview of like the NFC Championship. When you listen to our interview with Tampa, he definitely thinks these are the top two teams in the NFC. It's good to be in that conversation. So we have Tampa Tones, who we met last year. Great podcaster at the Buccaneers podcast. Check that out. We're going to be on there this upcoming Monday, both Jacob and I, right before the game. I was on Tuesday night, so that's already up there. We had a really good conversation. So if you want some more matchup talk and, have with the Buccaneers, you learned a little bit more about their team, that's a good place to go. All right, Jacob, how you feeling about this matchup, and how you doing?
I'm good, man. Primetime Lions. We love the primetime matchups. I don't love the dual Monday night games. I don't like having to share the spotlight with anybody. But our game is going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then the following game is not until 10. So the NFL made sure that people could tune into this one and catch the whole thing without being interrupted. I know the last Monday night game, the kickoffs were only like an hour apart, so it was impossible to watch both of them. Yeah, so not a fan of the dual window, but I mean, I love the Lions in prime time. Black jerseys are back. They've been hinting at it all week, so
yeah,
that's awesome. If only they could wear the creamsicle jerseys. That just would be one of the best uniform combos of all time.
That would be sweet. I'm happy that it starts at 7, so the boys don't have to stay up as late to watch the game. Be able to see the whole thing and be up a little bit past their normal bedtime, but yeah, that'll be cool. All right, Jacob, why don't we get right into this? Let's go. Let's start out with the transactions. I'm going to let you go through them.
All right. Transactions since the last time that we spoke to you guys. We have waived safety Lauren Strickland. He did clear waivers, so we signed him to the practice squad. We released Keith Cooper, defensive lineman Keith Cooper, undrafted. Somebody, we kind of had question marks if he was going to make the team or not. So he's been on the practice squad. They did release him from the practice squad. And then Kingsley Aguaquin and defensive lineman Chris Smith actually are back on the practice squad. So they were briefly released. They're both back. I think the most interesting one that we have here is that we did finally sign a cornerback. We signed cornerback Kendall Fuller to the practice squad, who was somebody that a lot of people had circled, that he was available. This guy's a veteran, 9 seasons in the NFL, 128 games played. Last year he spent with the Dolphins, and he started in 11 games. But he's been top 20 in Pro Football Focus for almost half of his career. 4 of his 9 seasons, he's finished in the top 20. His best years are behind him. Obviously, this is a corner that was still available in October. So, his phone was not ringing off the hook. But, it's still nice to get that depth piece in there and get somebody in the short term that possibly could contribute. And, we may need him. To round up the transactions, we signed safety Jamie Robinson. We actually poached him from the Chiefs practice squad. We heard that he's got the hookup for how to get the refs on your side. So we brought him in.
Dude, he's got the secret, man. All right. Yeah, I know there's someone that people were interested in. He came out in the same draft as Brian Branch. So, young guy. Hopefully, it's going back to Kendall Fuller. I'm happy that we got someone with experience. So if they do have to activate him, he's not going to be overwhelmed with the lights. He's going to be able to just come in and play. Is it going to be at, super high level? Probably not. But is it going to be enough where you don't have to worry about him committing a major mistake? Yeah, probably it's going to be fine. We're just in that position right now where we can't be too choosy. We just need help.
Right. It's going to be hopefully a little better than Jamal Adams or Quan Alexander last year. But that kind of situation, right? A veteran that you're going to be able to get in here with minimal time and hopefully is just, going to be able to hold it down for a little bit while he has to.
Yep. Agree. All right, let's look at this for the section main threats. Who we got to worry about over at the Buccaneers. First, we're going to look at the offense. Obviously, you start with QB Baker Mayfield. NFL put out a list. They have him ranked as the number one QB in the NFL right now. That was just released earlier today. PFF has rated 8th. He was on the NFL top 100, number 50. We have running back Rashad White. Now, he is their backup running back because their top running back, Bucky Irvin, is going to be most likely out for this game. I think it's pretty much a for sure thing that he's out. But Rashad White is no slouch himself, rated number 8 in PFF out of 51 running backs. Emeka Egbuka, who may or may not play in this game, someone that Jacob and I both liked in the draft. Rated 22 out of 126. Mike Evans, obviously you got to worry about Mike Evans. He's rated 65 out of 126. I don't care what he's rated. You have to know where he's at on the field. Mike Evans is rated number 44 in the NFL top 100. So still getting plenty of respect around the league. And offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs, rated number 12 for offensive tackles out of 76. He's also the NFL top 100, number 28. So they have some dangerous weapons, but a lot of them, like the Lions, are injured right now, especially a lot of their injuries are focused on the offensive side of the ball. All right, Jacob, who do we have to worry about on the defensive side?
Yes, flipping it over to the threats on defense. Cornerback Jamel Dean actually right now is Pro Football Focus number 1 ranked cornerback. Out of 108 qualifying corners, Jamel Dean's number 1. Their other defensive back, safety Tyke Smith, is number 11 out of 83. And then their other safety, Antoine Winfield, is number 18 out of 83. So some definite threats, in the defensive backfield. Also on the list, defensive tackle Vita Vea. Pro Football Focus has him rated number 44 right now, but he was number 76 on the NFL Top 100. And then linebacker Lavonte David. Pro Football Focus has a rating of 56 out of 77 right now. But he was NFL Top 100. He was number 96. He's, a perennial good player. I don't know exactly what the Pro Football Focus ranking means because the Bucs have a pretty good run defense right now. So who knows about the low rating on there, but that's definitely somebody you got to look out for.
Mm-hmm. Got to know where he's at on the field. And that'll be Jared Goff's task for sure, calling that out. All right, Jacob. Practice report came out, and it's lengthy for both teams. I will go through the Bucs practice report right now. Lavonte David, who we just talked about, did not practice today, knee and rib injury. Riley Dixon is on there, but just for personal reasons. He's their punter. Emeka Egbuka did not practice, hamstring, sounding like he's going to be out for at least this week from everything I've read. Mike Evans did practice today. He's got a hamstring injury as well, limited practice, so he's actually getting out there. We'll have to keep an eye on that, whether he's going to play or not. Chris Godwin has a leg issue. He is not going to play this week, did not practice today. Luke Haggard, who's their offensive tackle, they did not put a designation. He's on there with a shoulder, but they did not put what, if he practiced or what. So I don't know why they didn't have anything listed in there. I'm assuming he did not practice since they don't have anything listed, but we don't know. Bucky Irvin, who I talked about earlier, running back, he did not practice. It's unlikely he's going to play today or play this week. Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morris are their top, besides Dean, are their cornerbacks. They had a full practice day, so they're probably going to play. And Josh Williams, I know that's like their fourth-string running back, had a concussion, did not practice. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, Jacob, why don't you?
It's a little. Before we move on to the Lions, I was just going to say it's a little disappointing. Not that he's feeling better for Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison, but how cool would it have been if they had to start Kindle Vildor?
Man, he had a pick the last time. The guys over at the Buccaneers asked me about him, and they were much more positive about him than a lot of Lions fans were. So,
he's a role player, but that pick should have been a pick 6. That was like the Trevor Lawrence thing. It's like, my God, Kindle, please just get up. What are you doing?
Yes. I know. They talked about that too. And I thought of the Trevor Lawrence thing exactly. Like, just what is going on? Just stand up.
And then he finally just quit trying and just decided to accept that he was going to go down.
I'm done. Yep. All right. There are some key players on the Buccaneers IR list that obviously won't play in this game. Luke Gadecki, their tackle, Kalijah Cansey, defensive line, Cody Mock is their starting guard, and Jalen McMillan, wide receiver. They're all in the IR, will not play in this game. So those are all notable absences for them. All right, Jacob, why don't you tell us what was on the Lions practice report?
Some good things, some bad things with the Lions practice report. Let's start off with the good. Let's just get the good stuff first. So Aleem McNeil and Zach Cunningham both had full practices. Really sounds like, Aleem is going to be full go for this one. He's, going to return. We need him. With a limited practice, we had Taylor Decker. We also need Taylor out there for sure. So it's encouraging that he was able to get a limited practice in. As far as the players that did not practice, Sione Vaki still not practicing with a groin injury. Terrion not practicing with the shoulder. Avante Maddox not practicing with the hamstring. Kirby did not practice in this one. He's been battling with the knee injury. And then new to the injury report, which is a huge one, DJ Reader did not practice, dealing with some back stuff. So, that's going to suck to have Aleem back full speed. And if DJ Reader can't go, and we still are just missing that combination. And that's also, we're without Brian Branch due to the suspension. If Kirby's knee injury is bad enough that he can't go either, that's going to be all four of our starting defensive backs at the beginning of the season will be out for this game. So that's huge.
I know. Yeah, especially when you got Baker coming in here. I know that Baker's without his weapons, but he could still tear you up. Yeah, the Aleem thing, Dan Campbell said, he's freaking playing is what he said on 97.1. It sounds good. And then also, Dan Campbell talked today at his press conference, said that he didn't expect Taylor to be out there. Taylor Decker, lo and behold, on the practice report, he did get out there. So I think that looks pretty promising. I'm not what I was expecting. I kind of half expected him to just miss this game. But this is a big one, and maybe they're thinking we just want to get Taylor back for this.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we need him in the long run, it's become apparent that we definitely need to have him out there sooner rather than later. I did want to say that maybe Justin Rogers had tweeted or said something that Rodrigo was there, or he was working with trainers. Like, he's not practicing, but he's still in the building. So, I mean, the Rodrigo thing could be coming soon as well.
Yeah, there was also talk DJ Reader was on the side too. Like, he wasn't like just totally absent. So I mean, I don't think it's as bad as it could be. It'd be interesting to see how they line that up. Or Aleem's just they'll move Tyleek over and he'll play more of the DJ Reader role, and then Aleem will be in there. I gotta imagine Aleem's going to be on some sort of snap count. I can't imagine they're just going to put him out there and expect him to do 60 snaps in his first game. That doesn't seem very responsible, but who knows? All right, Jacob, how does Tampa Bay look offensively and defensively?
They look pretty good, Jason. So the offense right now, they're averaging 27.5 points a game. That's good for 6th in the NFL. Their defense right now averages 25.2 points allowed per game, which is 24th. So the offense you have in the top half, the defense you have in the bottom half. Compared to the Lions, I know you've got the Lions on here too. So we have 31.8 points per game. So that's second in the NFL out of offense. So these are two high-powered offenses going. Our defense is rated a little higher than theirs. We give up 23.7 points on average, which is 18th in the league.
All right. As far as like offensive stats, we are ranked neck and neck for yards per game. We're only 0.2 yards off from each other. We are ahead. We are ranked the 11th in total yards per game, as Tampa Bay is ranked at 12. They get on average 353.5 yards per game. As far as rushing goes, they are ranked 20th. They average around 109 yards a game. We are ranked 9th with 128 yards per game. So got quite a big advantage there. However, it swings the other way in passing yards per game. Baker and Tampa Bay Bucks are averaging 244 yards per game, ranked number 7. We are ranked number 14 with 225. So that's we control the rushing game. They control the passing yards. That's how that looks there. And how did they look defensively, Jacob?
Defensively, Tampa Bay gives up 319.5 yards per game on average, but which is good for 14th in the league. But that breaks down. They give up 88.2 as their average rushing yards per game, and that's top 5. And we do like to run the ball, so that's going to be an interesting point of attack there is our running backs against this rushing defense. Their passing defense is actually ranked 21st in the league. They give up 231 yards per game. Compared to the Lions, we give up 308 total yards per game, which is top 10. It's number 9 in the league. Rushing yards per game, we give up 95.5, which is 11th in the league. Passing yards, 212.7, which is 14th. So our defense is rated higher than theirs, except for in the rushing yards, which is pretty close. When you, once again, go back to the fact that our secondary is going to be decimated for this one. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I think it's time we're going to move on to the interview with Tampa Tones. I know you guys are going to enjoy that, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. All righty. I am so glad to have our next guest on. Tampa Tones. Change the schedule around. When you're trying to get these guests lined up, the hard part is getting everyone's scheduled lined up. Tampa, was able to finagle, get some time in between his 5 shows that he's running over there at the Buccaneers podcast. I was on the show last night, so go check that out on YouTube. Had some really good initial talks about Lions-Buccaneers matchup. Jacob and I will both be on their show on Monday, which will be live, correct? Right before the game. So check that out. We'll have, last minute details. It'll be a fun show. So Tampa, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. As I alluded to yesterday, one of my favorite pods that are of the Buccaneers varieties out there. Love the show. Always excited to be on the show. You two are great guys. It's always a good time chatting it up with top dogs in the NFC. I really, truly think this is going to be a battle of the behemoths over here. And hey, I'll never be too busy for you guys. Got to change a couple things around. No problem. Might be divorced. No, I'm kidding. None of that. But what can you do? Always an honor to be on with J&J. I'll call you guys. It's a good tag team name. We'll put it like that.
Sounds good, man.
We did not have luck the last couple weeks finding somebody from other teams. Nobody wanted to come on. So definitely appreciated having you on.
Sharing the love, brother. That's all it is. I love collabing. I love doing these behind the enemy lines type things because it really opens up conversations, and this is how you truly find out about the enemy, about the other football team.
For sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, you can read things, you can figure things out, but I mean, you're one of the most knowledgeable football minds that I know. And definitely, Buccaneers is your specialty. So we're happy to have you on. First question for you, Tampa, is how high has your heart rate got for these Buccaneers games? Because they go down to the last possession, man. Outside the last one, they all go down the last possession.
I don't think there's enough medication in the world that could have solved my heart rhythm by now, or whatever your niche might be to deal with that. But it's been insane, incredible, whatever you might call it. Probably unhealthy, but that's okay. As long as they're resulting in wins instead of losses, I am more okay with that than ever. It felt good finally getting a victory formation this past week against San Fran, although that one ultimately pretty much came down to the wire as well. So it's been one of those seasons where nothing comes easy, but it's been rewarding at the same time. And I think a lot of the national media is a little scary getting behind this Buccaneers team, which I'm not personally a fan of, because when the media starts noticing a team like the Bucs, seemingly things start falling off a little bit. Let's hope that's not the case. I'm really proud of these guys for fighting. And let's be honest, a lot of fans in Tampa said a lot of things over the past couple seasons of how Todd Bowles should have been fired last year, or Jamel Dean should have been released this offseason. And now Todd Bowles is doing a great job, and Jamel Dean is rated the number 1 corner, one of the top corners right now amongst the league in PFF. So it's just good to see a lot of these guys who are getting doubted, hated on, etc., kind of overachieving. But yes, the medication is definitely needed and warranted, and I'm sure will be again this Monday.
I think that's a good bet.
All right.
Safe bet.
We're diving in here. So the Buccaneers had a top 5 offense last year under Liam Cohen. Not unlike the Lions, the offensive coordinator leaves, he becomes the Jaguars head coach. So first off, I just want to know, do you have any hard feelings towards Liam Cohen? He declined the Jags job. There's the whole thing where he ghosts the team, like they can't get a hold of him. Then all of a sudden he takes the job. And, because for us with Ben Johnson, we kind of, he left to go to the Bears. He went to the rival. So we have kind of like hard feelings towards him. So I just want to know, because of how it ended, do you have any sort of hard feelings towards Liam Cohen? Do you enjoy seeing the Jaguars lose?
And what's kind of funny about that is 2 years, 2 offensive coordinators now that have become head coaches for other teams, and one of them is our rival, Carolina, Dave Canales, and no one is mad at him. No one's upset at him. No one's angry with him because he did the thing the right way. He told the Bucs right up front what he was doing, what he was getting into, and Carolina, we're not really afraid of him regardless, but at least he was man enough to be upfront about it. Now, Liam Cohen, I have no problem with you taking the Jacksonville job. Hey, I admire you for doing so. If you could get one of 32 job titles of head coach in the National Football League, kudos to you, man. Go do it. Be great. But the way you go about it, lying that you're at your child's doctor appointment and going off the radar with Coach Todd Bowles and GM Jason Light, who have been nothing but really welcoming and open to you and your family. And really, they told him, do what's best for you. Hey, here's a payday increase. We're going to give it to you if you stick around. He signed the deal to stick around and then obviously fades into oblivion. And I can't blame him getting a head coaching job. So I'm not really necessarily even mad at all for him taking it. I think it's different, right? Ben Johnson goes to a heated rival. That's a little more aggravating and upsetting. Dave Canales to the Panthers. We don't really worry about the Panthers, so that's neither near nor there for him. But Liam Cohen, the process, we call him Snaky Liam Cohen now because you just can't trust a guy like that. And I will say, it's going to catch up to him. You already see him beefing with other coaches around the NFL too. Robert Saleh after the game, Liam Cohen had the fake tough guy act. So, hey, good for you. You got your job, but game on, you're going to act like this. There's a way to do things in the NFL, and that's professionally. And that's why I think Dan Campbell and Todd Bowles make such good head coaches. They're two true pros and professionals. And I think over the years, you're really not going to get that with Liam Cohen. And that's what I'll say. Best of luck to the guy, but really not the biggest fan because I just think the whole thing was unprofessional how he went about.
Yeah, for sure. But, and, kind of makes it a little easier because the offense right now under your new offensive coordinator is ranked 6th right now. So it's not like, and Cohen was only there for the 1 year, as you already said. So, I mean, do you think the team even misses him at all right now, or they're just business as usual? They're just moving on.
Taking care of business has been a good theme of the Bucs this year, and I think that's what they'll continue to do. And again, as we allude to, 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years for this Bucs offense. Byron Leftwich got fired. And then you had Canales Cohen. Josh Grizzard was on the staff last year. He was their 3rd down specialist, to be exact, last year. They have all these wacky job titles nowadays, but he was the 3rd down specialist last year. So you love to see that transition, and he's surely a guy whose name will be coming up again if the Bucs offense is able to keep this pace up. He learned from Liam Cohen, and I think why he's so successful as well, a lot of his assistants were able to remain in place. Liam Cohen was only able to poach one of them away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or old tight ends coach Van Dam. But really, essentials like Kevin Carberry, this Buccaneers offensive line coach, he's really a big deal. And with this injury to this Buccaneers O-line this year, I mean, you're already on your 4th right guard. You're on your 2nd right tackle. You were without Tristan Wirfs for 3 to 4 weeks. As much credit as Josh Grizzard gets for having this offense top 6, he's been phenomenal play calling wise, getting Baker ready to roll. Kevin Carberry, their offensive line coach, who Liam Cohen did try and poach, but the Buccaneers said, you're not doing that. And then the Buccaneers did the right thing too. It's not like they just retained him and said, hey, you're not leaving, you're staying here. They promoted him. They gave him pay raises and all that stuff. So the Bucs took care of him. Kevin Picucci, the assistant O-line coach as well, got a promotion. Those two guys, as long as Josh Grizzard as well, are really key cogs to this Buccaneers offense. That O-line with those injuries, I can't believe they've done as well as they have. But I am afraid of Aiden Hutchinson this weekend, as he's going to be probably lined up a good bit against Charlie Heck, who's done a phenomenal job in the run game. The stats prove it. But in the passing game, been little to be desired. And a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, no matter who your coach is going to chew you up and eat you up defensively.
Yeah, well, you have right to be afraid of Aiden. He kind of ate you guys' lunch last. I know you guys won last year, but Aiden had the game of his life that game.
And it was the same exact scenario, and that's what scares me a little bit. We had Schooley, we called him Justin School. He's now a member of the Minnesota Vikings, their swing tackle. He was starting in place of an injured Buccaneer tackle last year, and I think Hutchinson had like 30 sacks against him. So us Bucs fans are kind of just having PTSD of round 2 pretty much. New name, same backup tackle against same phenomenal pass rusher. That's what we're really faring this Monday, I should say.
So the guy that Aiden's trying to knock down would be Baker Mayfield. He is playing probably some of the best football he's ever played in his career. The betting odds have him neck and neck with Mahomes and Josh Allen right now in the MVP race. Top 5 in TDs, top 5 in yards. He's only thrown one pick. The team says they want to, extend him. Are you comfortable paying Baker Mayfield top 5 money? Because that's what he's going to get, right?
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of money. Now, a couple of things here. It is funny. I do think he is in the front running for MVP right now, but it's pretty much a quarterback competition at this point yearly, right? The MVP. So guys like Jonathan Taylor aren't even top 10. I'm like, this is wild. But hey, kudos to Baker. I think he is number one right now. No bias there. Mahomes suddenly jumped him after that Sunday night fraudulent win against you guys. Don't get me started on that. Then Josh Allen had a poor game. So you put Baker up in front, which usually equates to a big payday. But he did do a couple of things interesting here. Last offseason, he signed a quiet extension for about what he's making right now, about the $30 to $35 million a year range, to give him another year on his deal because it was supposed to expire after this season. He extended it into a guaranteed trigger option for next year, about the $30 to $35 million deal. So he pretty much picked up his own option, which was a little crazy given what he could get paid out there, which, as you alluded to, is top quarterback money. But now this is 2 times we saw Baker kind of take, I hate to say 30 to 35 million is cheap, but kind of a lower end deal, right? He came to the Bucs on a $4 million. And even at that point in time, yes, he was not great, but we've seen backup quarterbacks or guys like Justin Fields get paid $20 million a year. The fact Baker did settle for $4 million year one in Tampa was an awesome hometown discount. Now making the $30 to $35 million range last year, this year, next year, really good value there. The Buccaneers always do what's right for their players. They're going to end up paying Baker Mayfield, but I'll be interested to see how the contract is structured, what's front loaded, what's back loaded, what incentives are maybe put in, because the Bucs are a big team that's not only, they're not really big on individual incentive built into their contract. They're big on, hey, make the wild card, make the NFC divisional round, make the championship game, make the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. That's how you get your big paydays. So I'm sure Baker is surely going to get his big payday increase. I'd say right up there with the best of him, but probably not the cream of the crop knowing who Baker is. I would say, well, again, still a disgusting amount of money, but he'll probably be right about that $50 million a year range with built-in incentives, when probably realistically, if he held out, played hardball, you could probably get $55-60 million a year, which is crazy as it sounds. That's just modern day football. And given the way he's playing, given the way, look, Mike Evans is out, Jalen McMillan's out, Chris Godwin is now going to be out consecutive weeks, and we've even seen Igbuka get banged up multiple games now, and he's still winning football games somehow. So I don't think it's something you could overlook. Yes, you need more heart medication, but you got your franchise quarterback, and anytime 6 is on that field, regardless of who else suits up, this Buccaneers team has a chance to win the football game. So give him what he wants, but I think he'll be more reasonable than a lot of guys out there are, right? And no knock on them, but Trevor Lawrence's of the world, who kind of, to me, overcream their crop a little bit. Good for you, but at the same time, that hinders your team, right? Now you're not going to be able to give a free agent that Liam Cohen, maybe a guy like Cooper Kupp would have signed there, right? But now you can't afford a Cooper Kupp, and you got to settle for a guy like De'Ami Brown, who is still not a bad wide receiver, but that's why the Bucs are able to re-sign Mike Evans. That's why they're able to re-sign Chris Godwin. That's why they're able to bring back a Sterling Shepard, because a guy like Baker Mayfield knows the situation at hand. Hey, you win football games, you get rewarded, but at the same time, if your team diminishes, it's great you're getting paid big dollar, but what is that going to do for you at the end of the day? Probably not make you into the player what you've been the past couple of seasons.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. You
Thank
mentioned
you.
him.
Needed a
This
sip
is
of water
somebody.
there.
This is somebody I wanted to hear your opinion about. So the team took a little bit of heat for going wide receiver in round 1 because of the defensive struggles last year. Igbuka right now, with all the injuries, getting a lot of playing time. So he's an early candidate for rookie of the year. So obviously it looks like a great pick right now, but I just want to know, initially, were you hoping defense in round 1? Was there somebody that you had your eye on that was available at 19? Did you know they were going Igbuka? I looked before, I saw your mock, you had them taking Maxwell Hairston in like a trade back. But, you know, did you have somebody that you're like, this is who we're going with, and then they surprised you with Egbuka? Or did you just think, you know, that checks out?
Well, I appreciate you reading my mock, and I did have Maxwell Harrison. I got fed some information late into the draft process that kind of made me go towards Maxwell Harrison. I was going to go edge rusher, but regardless, I wasn't going to go wide receiver. And, you know, as Gronk said, Emeka Igbigbu totally butchered his name, the great Gronk did, but this kid's been incredible. And I can't lie. I'm not going to lie. I'm out there on podcasts time and time again. I said, no way this team drafts a wide receiver. We're not going to do that. I said, you know, why would we do that, right? You bring back a guy like Chris Godwin. I know he's coming back from injury, but you still have Mike Evans. Jalen McMillan was healthy at the time. You brought back Sterling Shepard at the time. You had some promising UDFAs like Cam Johnson on this roster. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I literally, I think I was on pod saying it's a nair or if not 0% chance this team was going to go wide receiver round one. Draft night comes along. I'm sitting there watching. I hear the pick. And at first I was like, man, did we really just do that? Are you kidding me? But then watch a highlight clip, dug in a little deeper, talked to some Bucs reporters, friends of mine, sources, people who cover the team well, and they were so confident in Light's confidence in the pick that itself, that how confident Jason Light and Todd Bowles were with this pick that night ensured them, because they thought the same. A lot of reporters thought the same as me out there. It's not like I was on a little island saying, oh, I don't want a wide receiver. That's how a lot of people felt, including reporters, Sports Illustrated writers, so forth. The fact of the matter is that night there was a sense of calmness, collectability throughout the 813 Tampa area about this kid. And really, ever since day number 2, he came in on that Friday. He was wearing OG Buck Scare throwback creamsicle merch already. He really related well with the media, shook everyone's hand in one Buck place, presented himself as a professional. And Ohio State has a daunting list of wide receivers. They're one of the top 4 programs that create wide receivers alongside some other one. I mean, we could have a whole show on, you know, who's wide receiver U. Is it Alabama? Is it LSU? USC? I think it's Ohio State, but Emeka Egbuka, I got Gronk in me now, but he's at the top of the list on a lot of those stats. If you look at it, he's number 1 for a lot of things Ohio State. In just the past couple of years, you had Garrett Wilson, you had JSN, you had Chris Olave. That's just to name a few. Terry McLaurin as well. It's been quite incredible. But A, I was not expecting it. Thought it was a 0% chance. B, initial reaction for about 5 minutes, I was kind of pissed off a little bit there. And C, it's been a quick memory fade for a lot of Bucs fans, media writers who said wide receiver wasn't a need or shouldn't happen, as now all of a sudden it was the biggest need on the team. And then not only do you see Egbuka drafted, they doubled down in the last round to draft Tez Johnson as well, another wide receiver, right? So you're going, we draft 2 wide receivers, and now they're both out here making plays, catching touchdowns for this Bucs team, and 2 of the only healthy guys on the team. So kudos to Light and his team for not only drafting Egbuka, but bringing in a guy like Tez Johnson as well to really solidify this wide receiver depth.
What do you like about Abuka's game the best? Like what has surprised you, or what do you admire the most?
Couple things. His route running is crisp, man. His route running is very good. And there's a really stupid stat by ESPN the other day that tried to say he was dead last in creating separation, and I laughed. And the next play, the next touchdown he had, there was like no defender around him, and I'm like, you need more separation than that. Like, you know, these stats are silly that they put out sometimes. So if you actually watch his route running, his crispness of it, it's incredible. I mean, this is a guy who, whether you run a dig, a fly, you know, a slant, a hook, whatever the route might be, it's just professional. He looks like Chris Godwin out there in year 1. You know how Godwin really prides himself on his routes, his hands, his going over the middle abilities. He really does remind you of a Chris Godwin, but already in year 1 as a rookie. And Mike Evans alluded to that himself. He's like, this is the best rookie wide receiver this Bucs team has ever had. And he was talking about himself, who had a 1,000-yard season his rookie season. So just the fact of the matter that you got guys like Godwin, Evans recognizing how good he is, and not only his routes, his hands are incredible. I mean, you saw it against the Jets. He brought in 2 crazy catches. One of them didn't count. It should have counted. The referees will tell you that as well, but that's another story. But the one-handed grab he brought in, the near one-handed fourth quarter bobble grab he brought in, His speed, isn't crazy. It's not that he's slow or anything, but he's just not the most fleet of foot speed-wise, which is okay because when you got great route running and you got great hands, it kind of cancels out for not being the most fleet of foot. Not saying he's slow, he's a quick guy, but I wouldn't necessarily call him fast. But his routes, and not to be punny, but his grit. He goes up there, he takes a hit. Some wide receivers, some of the best of the business, go over the middle and they back down. This guy doesn't back down. He puts his chin right into it, his hands right into it, and he'll go toe to toe, hand to hand with just about any defender out there. So his route running, number one, hands number two, grit number three, really completes probable offensive rookie of the year package unless his injury hinders him that much to really throw something in the wrench.
Yeah, as Michigan fans, we have seen Egbuka up close and personal, several times. He didn't have a great, his last season was great. The year before that, he was kind of overshadowed, though. But, it just seems like his personality, the way that he plays, I think me and Jason both would have liked having him on the Lions team. It just didn't make sense. Obviously the availability wasn't there anyway, but I think we both thought bad things as soon as we saw you guys get him. Like he's going to be good there. And, I don't know what crystal ball that Light was looking through to realize, that they were going to need some depth and that, he was going to come in clutch, but that's not unlike what happened with us with our first round pick when we drafted Tyleik Williams. So, the team knew, hey, this position of need, Levi Onwuzurike was going to be out, which we didn't know at the time, but Ali McNeil, who's coming back this week, we knew we were going to be without him. So it was just one of those things where this guy helps us now, but he also sets us up for the future. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, and that's just it, too. I think you hit the nail on the head with that point. Exactly. It's like so many people were factoring, is Egbuka going to be wide receiver 3 out of the gates? Because McMillan had a very good year last year. Is he going to be wide receiver 4? Really doesn't even end up being a competition or question. McMillan suffers the injury, but you're drafting him round 1. There's really no doubt you're using him to be wide receiver 3 with Godwin and Evans healthy. And now he, supplanted himself, probably surpassed Godwin because he's really not going to be on 100% pitch count all year to this point, seemingly Godwin. So really you're looking at wide receiver 2 helping you out right now. And then, yes, a guy like Mike Evans contracts up at year's end. You're paying Chris Godwin a lot of money. If he's going to be hobbled, how does that work out in the future? You might have something to work out there. So this is not only great production on the field, as you alluded to, it's a great insurance policy for the future. You never know. Mike Evans has hinted multiple times he might retire after this season. I doubt it. I don't believe so. Still playing good. But look, another hamstring injury, right? If he's not healthy, he's done everything you could do at this point. He's right up there with Jerry Rice in record books. He's won a Super Bowl. He's made Pro Bowls. What more do you want to do? So if he retires, if Godwin injury hampers him to the point where you never know what might happen, Egbuka, great production now, great production later, just a great pick. Awesome stuff. And you Lions fans are familiar with that. I think you guys signed Montgomery before drafting Gibbs, I want to say as well. So, you have a running back like Montgomery. A lot of teams might say, what are you drafting a running back that high for? We just gave one all this money. Look, now the Lions are laughing at other teams saying, hey, look at this. We got the best 1-2 punch in all of football. And teams like the Bears really wish they had something like that. No knock on the Bears, not to pick on them, but, DeAndre Swift, and then you got Monangai that can't compete with your guys' 1-2 punch all day. So our teams are just really good at foreshadowing, hey, yeah, it might not seem like a need on the surface, but hey, let me cook a little bit and watch the production on the field, and that's all that matters at the end of it.
I think we both our teams have GMs we can trust. They're going to make that decision. And, like you said, with the Gibbs pick, that was a little outside the box. Like a lot of, national media hated it. But now everyone's in love with that pick because they see the dynamic player that he is, and he changes the field. And if you go with like national opinion or you go with like the prevailing thought, a lot of times that's so outdated. And so when these GMs know way more than we ever know. They know what the health of all their players is. They know contract status. They may know like, hey, Mike Evans is probably talking like this is his last year. They have all that information that we don't have. So Jake, it was really funny because like you said, you were upset about the pick like right after for like 5 minutes. Jacob and I were together draft night at Ford Field, and when Tyleik got picked, both of us had a sense of disappointment right away. And then I know that even the next day I felt better about it, and I think he did too. And then how everything played out, we're really happy that we made that pick. And Tyreek has played really, really well for us. And now we're going to get a lean back and we're going to see how dynamic them two are next to each other. So it's nice to have a GM that knows what they're doing and builds a team with a purpose.
Yeah, it really is. And I think your guys it's kind of a setting stone for teams that are aspiring to be the next level again, too, right? I think both our fan bases can relate that we're no stranger to the bottom of the barrel. The Buccaneers were the losingest franchise in all four sports history combined. NHL, NFL, NBA, MLB until the Tom Brady era. Now, we're snaking our way up slowly but surely. Obviously, the Lions had their tough times, far and few in between. And now we're kind of the gold standard on how to run things, not only draft wise, but top to bottom. Oh, Bucks, you lose your offensive coordinator every year. No problem. We'll just get another one. He'll become a head coach. Lions, you lose both your coordinators to head coach, and it's not really a big deal. We're still one of the best teams in football. That's not normal, right? That's not common. Look at the Eagles a couple of years ago. They had such a good year, and then they had like Matt Patricia call and play something stupid. They had like the weirdest assistant coach and staff you could think of, pretty much. But at day's end, that just goes to show, look at how bad they became so quick with inept coaching, right? It's not normal to be able to just rebound, but with guys like Dan Campbell, with GMs that we have, Todd Bowles, he's up and coming as a head coach as well. A lot of people hated him, but yes, these are cornerstone franchises right now. And I really think franchises like Cleveland, I think Miami's right there now too. You got to look at how the Lions are doing things. You got to look at how the Buccaneers are doing things, take notes, and really go from there, because you could learn a lot. And yeah, don't listen to the national media. Never listen to the media, because a lot of the time they're wrong on the big picture things too, right? And you just can't do it. So I think the Bucks, Lions, regardless, draft, you're always going to hear, oh, why the heck did they draft him? They don't need him. Why did they draft Tyreek Williams? They don't really need him. Well, first of all, if you're drafting a kid from Ohio State, odds are he's probably going to be a pretty good pro to begin with, right? So that's first and foremost right there. That's why you draft kids from Ohio State. They're going to be good pros. Secondly, as you alluded to earlier, Jason, we're armchair GMs. These guys are actual GMs. Let them do their job. Their track records prove themselves. So I'm never going to doubt the Lions and Bucks until they give me a reason to doubt them. With their picks, with their maneuvers, with their additions, their coaching staff, and everything in between to this point, because they just have done things the right way for the past 5 years or so, with real few blemishes or hiccups in between.
All right. Before we head out of here, we want to hear a little bit about your defense. Top 5 in rushing yards led up right now. Lions obviously like to rush the ball. So our first question is, how do you think they're going to fare against the Lions rush attack in Hull? And then for you personally, who are you more afraid of, Gibbs or Monty?
Well, my answer has changed over the past couple of years. I was more afraid of Monty at first, but watching Gibbs, I'm not going to lie, I was one of the guys who wasn't a fan of the Gibbs pick right away. And the Lions surely slapped me in the face and said, don't you doubt us. This is how we do, and this is how we produce. And I'm way more afraid, not way more, because Monty's still a very good running back. Don't get me wrong, no knock on him. But Gibbs is just so elusive, and he's just so tough to bring down, and he could do it all. He's one of those running backs who I'll never say there's a perfect package in the National Football League, because even the Tom Brady's of the world could work on things. Hey, if he had Michael Vick's legs, imagine how good he'd be, right? But, Jahmyr Gibbs is near the perfect package when you're looking at running back, what you can ask for in terms of that. So I am more afraid of Gibbs, his elusiveness, his ability to slash and dash, everything about him. He could run at the goal line even too, right? It's not like you need to bring in Monty for goal line situations. No, you see Gibbs handle goal line work too. So he could really do it all. He's a de facto back, clear-cut number 1 running back. I'm more afraid of him. Not a knock against Monty. I'm afraid of him too. But if I had to pick which one I'm more afraid of, it's like picking a Bucs wide receiver, right? Are you more afraid of Evans, Godwin? Who might it be? Yeah, it's going to be Evans at day's end, but it's like, got to watch out for both of those guys. That's how I firmly feel. But I am in the camp that Gibbs is a top running back in the NFL. I'd go him and Taylor and, Bijan Robinson at this point, probably top 3, I would say right now. And I know Barkley fans, McCaffrey fans will be mad at me. Well, Barkley hasn't proven this year that he could maintain being that good every single season. And again, he is a great running back, but that Eagles team is just a mayhem. And McCaffrey, I would put him at 4, but coming off a big injury, I need to see him stay healthy again for a full season. So I'd put him top 3 running back. Bucks rush defense took a big hit when Kalijah Cansey did suffer an injury early on this season, Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans. Funny story with Kalijah, I actually predicted him, well, really not too funny, but I did predict him to win some awards at the beginning of the year. I really had him making the next step for this Bucks team. Cool dude, actually ended up following me back on Twitter. That was pretty cool. So Kalijah Cansey does see a lot of my things, likes a lot of my tweets. We've never conversed. We have conversed in person after the Saints game last year, but really cool guy. But that was a big hit for this defense. And you've really seen the front 7 kind of morph into a younger group, especially on that defensive line without Cansey, although he's young himself. You see undrafted free agent Elijah Simmons getting a lot of tick. 5th round pick Elijah Roberts getting a lot of tick. Suddenly, rookies are becoming a big de facto in the Bucks defensive line. And I think it's really interesting. They brought in Charlie Strong this year to help be a defensive line coach because we did lose Casey Rogers to the Lions, and that was a big coach we had to replace. We loved Casey here. He brought great things to this defensive line, to this front 7 group. Bringing in Charlie Strong's really helped. Having a guy like Vita Vea always helps up there. But the loss of Kalijah Cansey has not been easy. We're lucky a lot of these rookies have been able to step up to this point. And I will give credit to Greg Gaines as well, Logan Hall as well, to kind of be up there. But we are, this isn't a running game that you could take lightly, you could take for granted. Even having promising rookies, having a guy like Vita Vea up there, you can never take away from a Gibbs Montgomery punch. Again, I would put it up there as the best in the National Football League. Yeah, sure, the Bucks have done their job in a number of running backs throughout this year on top contenders too, right? But at day's end, I mean, Bijan, he had a really nice catch. He did not do nothing on the ground, but this Bucks team will never take it for granted. Lions wear you down, tear you down. You see it a couple of years ago. I forget. I'm going to draw a blank. You guys will know, but was it Craig Reynolds or who was the running back that came in for the Lions against the Bucks in Tampa?
Craig Reynolds.
Yeah, Craig Reynolds, and he was running silly all over this defense. So really scheming is a big factor too. And as much as I love Gibbs and just gave him his kudos, I think I could probably run it for the Lions and still be a threat out there. This Bucks team, no matter the personnel you got out there, no matter the coaches you got out there, Dan Campbell and his boys are going to be scheming up a great game, and it's going to be nothing easy, man. It's really scary to think about when you got Montgomery and Gibbs on the other side.
All right, before we head out, quick prediction. Give us a quick prediction for the game. Doesn't have to be a score. Doesn't have to be an outcome. I mean, it can include that, but or anything you think that's going to happen in this game.
Mayhem. A lot of mayhem in a fun way, in a good way, but I think some injury casualties are going to come of this as well. These are 2 football teams that are physical. They're gritty, and I hate seeing it. I hate even predicting it, but the way the NFL has been this year, this is going to be a game where teams are going to get banged up throughout. It's going to be feisty. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears poured in for 4 quarters, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be Ford Field is going to be electric. I wish I could go. One of my buddies called me today pleading to get stand-in room tickets with him, but I got a wedding to pay for. I got some other stuff on my hands, so got to put that to the side for now. But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. There's no telling what might go on in terms of who ends up winning this game, but I'll make a prediction. Whoever has a football last is going to win this game. I think it's going to be that close. I think it's going to be decided by 1 score. I think it's going to be Lions Bucks like we've seen the past couple times they played, game on, right? Remember playoff time, Baker Mayfield has a chance to bring the Bucks back in this game, throws an interception, Lions go on to win this game. Last year, you see the Bucks kind of sneak one out, right, quickly. So I think that this game is a game that Dan Campbell's a man of revenge. He puts things on his radar. He's going to have it circled, and it's going to be feisty. Now, the Bucks, they're a team that like to prove people wrong, too. Everybody said, oh, they can't beat the Falcons week 1. You go in, you beat Atlanta. Oh, this team can't win on prime time. They went 0-5 in prime time last year. They win Monday Night Football in Houston, right? The Jets gave up on Todd Bowles. They gave up on Hassan Reddick, their defensive coordinator, Baker Mayfield's old coach, who gave up on him. What do? They take care of the Jets. So the Bucs are this team that kind of works in terms of liking to prove people wrong. Dan Campbell likes to have revenge. We know he's one of those guys that probably hasn't slept since he lost to the Bucs and has circled it on his schedule. So it's going to be fun, man. Put the boxing gloves on, take those punches to the jaw, but just remember at day's end, whoever wins this game, whoever loses this game, I should say, is going to be fine. They're going to be there at the end. People are going to be nervous. One of these teams lose. Oh, did the Bucs lose a step? Are the Lions out of sorts? No, these are the two best teams in the NFC. Right now, I would probably throw, you would have to throw San Fran when they're healthy in there just because their injuries have been insane as well. Will they ever get healthy? I'm not really sure, but these are the two best. Whatever happens, happens. It's going to be a great game. What sucks is each of these teams are going to have to play Sunday on short rest after this, unless the Lions bye.
We're on a bye.
Lions are on a bye. So, see, what's funny with that, too, real quick, I'm in California the week after. I was praying to God the Bucs would get a bye week. They had to give it the week after, man. I'm like, Monday Night Football, get them beat up with Detroit. You give the Lions a bye week. You can't give the Bucs a bye week. Come on, help us out there. I'll be in California after a wedding. I'll be a little hungover. At least they're playing the Saints. But all in all, going to be great. You guys deserve that bye week. We'll be limping into Sunday, but battle of the best, man. Last ball in their hand wins this football game. That's my prediction.
Nice.
I think it's fair.
All right, Tampa. Tell us, where the listeners could find you and what you got going on, and especially dealing with this matchup that we got.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff going on. You can find us at Buccaneers. It's like Buccaneers, but instead of the N, a T. So you could find us on YouTube, on X, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. Instagram, we're Buccaneers Pod. We are live right now several times a week. 3 times a week we do live shows. A couple times a week we do quickies. Like we have a show called Campus Kickoff, which is about 15 to 20 minutes college football talk. Get you ready for each of the big games. We have a game Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be the first to bring you that action. NFL-wise, we do Toe in the Line, 15, 20-minute quick show. Saturday Showdown. We'll be previewing Bucs Lions, 9:05 a.m. Eastern this Saturday, this week, for those of you out there wanting some pregame talk on a Saturday morning. We welcome all fans. We're not mean. You seen us last night, Jason. Someone came on. So, I don't know what even they call this, some bad word and whatever. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Hope you come back. Have a good one. But yeah, we're just there having fun, man. So join us this Saturday, every Saturday, 9:05. You like college football? You like Michigan? We talk about it all. Glad to have you. Then every Tuesday, we're live for our Tune Me Up Tuesday show, getting you ready for the next big week. Then we got Man Cave Mondays, memorabilia talk. We got dive into the 813 history talk. We're just loaded, man. We do it all. Come on over to the Buccaneers. Never a bad time. We just like to make friends and have good company.
All right. Well, Tampa, thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge. We need to get together. I know during the season and stuff, but we need to do something in the off season this next season. Well, I don't know what it'll be, but we got to figure something out.
Yeah, we definitely do, man. I mean, life's too short, right? You got to have good times with good people, and that's what I'm glad podcasting does. It brings fun people together. Really glad. I'm honored. It's truly an honor to be able to chop it up with my favorite Lions guys. And I have Lions blood in the family way back when the great Tommy Dublinsky, he only played for the Lions a brief stint in time, but he was a Lions quarterback, and then he ended up not getting the starting job, so he ended up going over to the Canadian Football League and won some football championships over there in Canada. But I do have former family member who was a Detroit Lion, so don't tell anyone that, but I do have some Lions blood in me, so we'll keep it at that. But yes, great times, great people, love you guys, would love to do something this offseason. Whether it's on air, in person, I'm always down. I'm just a stone's throw away. And if I'm ever up there for a Bucs game, I would love to do something. Sadly, can't happen this time around, but seems like we play every year at this point, so we'll make it happen soon.
Maybe for the playoffs, we'll see.
Yeah, playoffs, like Herm Edwards. Playoffs, or you kidding? Not Herm Edwards, Jim Mora. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
But, regardless, 2 great coaches, so there we go.
Yeah, nice. All right, Tampa, thanks so much, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch, fellas. J&J, you guys have a great night. Jacob, Jason, thanks again for having me, fellas.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Jacob, it is time to get into our keys to victory. I'm going to let you start first. What is your first key to victory to beating those Buccaneers?
First off, I just want to say thank you for letting me talk so much. I don't understand what happened to you, what's gotten into you lately, that you're just not hogging the microphone as much. Shouts out to
Oh,
Jason for
thanks.
just, going back to being hosting. And we're right back into it. I've got 2 keys to victory for this one. My first one is going to be to keep the pressure on Baker. So we all know about the secondary. We've mentioned it several times. I don't think that this should be a game where we drop our linebackers into coverage 75% of the time. I think that we need to send pressure a lot. We've got to get Baker out of his comfort zone. I know they don't have their top wideouts either, so it's going to kind of be, our backup secondary versus their backup receivers. But if you give Baker Mayfield time, he's going to still be able to pick you apart. And it's hard to contain, if you're in man coverage, if you're asking Amik to be on, I don't even know who their top wideout is going to be in this one if Mike Evans doesn't play like Buka. But, anybody that you ask to cover, if you're on an island with them and the quarterback's scrambling out of the zone, it's impossible. When it's a free-for-all, it's impossible to hold coverage that long. And if we're dropping back into coverage, everybody, and letting him run free, you got to worry about the scrambling and you got to worry about him, chucking it deep and causing some damage. I think a big key is going to be to keep the pressure going. Just keep the pressure in his face, and I feel like it's going to force him to make a mistake or two.
Mine is actually, I think a key to this is getting pressure with 4 so that we can have some more people in the back end of our defense so that we don't have to rely on our corners on an island, because I'm afraid if we're going to be blitzing everybody, then that's going to be difficult, the way that Baker can move around in the pocket. Aiden Hutchinson dominated last year versus Tampa Bay, and we're going to need a similar type performance from Aiden, and he's going to have to go in. I hope that they have their same plan that they did last year, where they didn't chip or anything, and they just let them try to one-on-one Aiden, because that worked great for the Lions, not so much for Tampa Bay. So I'm hoping that they continue that. I look for, if we can get pressure with 4, it'd be great. I want to crunch it, like, don't give Baker a lot of outs, similar to what we did with Lamar. You just want to crunch it, and Baker's shorter. I could see Tyler getting a tip pass. Maybe we get an interception or something out of that if we could keep him inside the pocket. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So we'll see. You want to blitz? I hope we just get pressure with 4.
So we both have the same key that we need to get pressure on Baker, but I think that we need to do it by sending an extra man, and you're wanting to just, which ideally is always the case, right? I mean, you want to just be able to get pressure with 4, but you think Tampa Bay is not going to learn from their mistake last year, and that we're going to be able to just let Hutch run on him again.
I hope so. Or maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe Hutch just knows what's on the line here, and he just needs to take care of it. All right.
Give Alquadine some more snaps. I do have one more.
Yes.
And this is, sometimes I put these in here, and I feel like they're blatantly obvious keys to victory, but just take care of the ball. I don't think we need to take as many shots downfield and put the ball in harm's way. So in my opinion, I think we should be able to move the ball against these guys. Yeah, I can tell from your laugh that you're the opposite. So I think that we're going to be able to move the ball pretty consistently against them. We can rely on the run, even though they have a top defense. A lot of their linemen are not highly graded against the run. It's their linebackers and safeties that come up and stop the run. And that's hard to do when you've got Gibbs and Montgomery. So I think we're going to be able to move the ball. I don't think we need to throw, 4 or 5 deep balls to Jameson Williams. I do think that if Johnny Moe sees how they're playing us on the first drive, he's definitely going to, as we always do, find a way to try to take a shot. But I just don't think we should be forcing it.
I agree. I don't want to force it, but I have on here, it hit at least one 40-plus yard shot to Jamel.
Yeah.
Last time versus Tampa Bay, we did do that like almost right away. The reason why I want to do that, I don't want to make consistent like 5 or 6 shots where we're always just throwing it down there and wasting downs. I want to be able to I want to pull their safeties back so that we can run, because that's what I'm worried about. If we're not, pushing them deep or pushing them off the ball, and we might not even have to complete one back there, but we have to have the threat of it. And I think if we, toss one up, even if it's incomplete, if it's close, they're going to pull their safeties back. So that's what I want to do. Because I remember last year we tried to run a lot of screens or stuff to the flat with Gibbs, and it never worked. And then that's because they're playing up so close to the line. So we do need to get their safeties back. And yes, obviously we want to win the turnover battle in every game. That's important. But in a game this tight where the offenses are this close, you're right. We don't want to give them any extra offensive opportunities and put our defense in a bad position. I do have one more, and ours is because we're missing Frank, and they have big Vita Vea up there. This is kind of scary for me, so we have to have a good plan for Vita Vea. Double him, do whatever we need to do. You got to know where he's at on the line. Him and Frank always battled so well, and now we don't have Frank, so this is going to be interesting to see how we handle him.
Right. Tall task for Graham Glasgow. Did you see, I don't know if it was last game, but I saw the highlight where Vita dropped into coverage. Did you see where he dropped into coverage?
No.
So Vita drops into coverage and then causes like a pass breakup. I don't know exactly how it happened, or he hit the guy and he dropped it, but somehow like he broke up the ball, and then Vita Vea does the seatbelt, he does the celebration out there. Big 300-pound. It was funny. But no, you're absolutely right. It's hard to miss him, but you definitely can't forget where he's at.
Yep. All right, let's move into the Roar Alert, the player, position, group, or something that's going to make some noise in this game. Who do you have for your Roar Alert, Jacob?
All right, so you've already mentioned, but last game against Tampa Bay, Hutch had 4.5 sacks and a forced fumble. He's number 4 in the league right now with 6 sacks, and that's after having, at least 2 or 3 called back because of penalties. So we obviously need him to have a big game. We need the defensive line to get pressure and not, leave the defensive backs vulnerable to the deep shot. So my Roar Alert is that I think that Hutch is going to have another big game. He's going to make some noise. Maybe he's going to get another. He really likes these strip sack fumbles. So maybe he's going to do that to Baker again, but that's who I've got.
I'm going with our quarterback. I'm going with Jared Goff. He's going to make some noise in this game. We could take advantage of this pass defense. I know last time we kind of complained that he passed too much, but really the ultimate thing was we weren't successful in the red zone. And I think we're going to be able to move the ball in this team, and Jared Goff's going to be a big part of that. Although I think the running game's going to do well too, but I think Jared Goff's going to loosen it up a little bit for Monty and Gibbs. All right,
I don't want him to throw 50 times. I'll put that out there.
But I do want maybe Monty could throw a touchdown and maybe it won't get called back. That'd be cool.
Let's run that same play. Run the same play and then have Demo just run it. Instead of throwing it to Goff, have him just run up the middle.
I like it. Let's move into the Grit Guarantee.
It's time for the Grit Guarantee.
I will go first since I let you do the Roar Alert here. Monty and Gibbs are each going to score a touchdown. They're going to break that record. This is the game that they're going to break it in.
Love it. I can see that happening for sure. That would be great. Yep. Monday night, prime time. Yeah, I mean, the story practically writes itself.
Troy will probably be calling the game, so maybe he'll text Emmett.
Yeah, right. Get your pads ready. We got to get back out there. No. All right, my Grit Guarantee. I've got that Tesla gets his first multi-catch game. So he was not targeted last week, but he played almost half of the offensive snaps. I think we see a little more Tesla here. It could only be 2 catches, but I'm going to say multi-catch game.
Okay. Multi-catch game. I like it. Let's hope so. He's kind of, he's fallen if people aren't remembering his name because he hasn't done anything. He hasn't made any one-handed catch. Now, will both those catches, any of those be one-handed catches?
They'll both be one-handed catches. If you were Ash. Total of 2 hands that night, both one-handed.
Wait, each one hand?
Yes.
Yeah. If you were Ash, you'd be like, on a rollout pass deep, it'd be 20-plus yards. He's going to catch it with his right hand. That's, if you were Ash, you'd have to, he'd call it out exactly.
And he's usually pretty close.
He is. All right, let's do Grit Picks.
Grit Picks.
All right, Jacob, I'm going to let you break down how we looked last week. Pitiful.
Yeah, Grit Picks are not hitting, man. I don't know what's going on. Last week, we both went 1-3. So for the season, we are both 11-11. We're tied 11-11. Last week, Eagles at Giants. We both went with the Eagles. Giants upset them. Giants actually looked really good against the Eagles. Sunday Night Football, more rushing yards, Gibbs or Monty. We both said Gibbs. Ash said Demo. Gibbs led, so we got a point for that. And then the other 2 games, Bills at Falcons. All 3 of us picked Bills. The Falcons won. And then Bears at Commanders. We both picked the Commanders. Ash did pick the Bears, and the Bears were able to pull that one out with a newly signed kicker. Yeah. Newly signed kicker. Called him up in the rain, in the wind, and he hits the game winner.
Exactly. Couldn't hit anything in San Francisco and sunny California, but goes to, rainy Washington and kicks it. So crazy.
Right. Good for him, Jacob. I guess.
First game, it's actually going on right now as we record it. Jacob and I told each other who we're going to pick. We might want we could have changed our pick, but I picked the Steelers. Who did you pick, Jacob?
Yeah, so we talked about this yesterday just to make sure because we knew the game was going to be going on and we didn't want any funny business. But so this year has really been any given Sunday. The Steelers are 4-1 right now, but they've had close games against the Jets, the Patriots, the Vikings. Like most of their wins are not convincing fashion. The Bengals are bottom 3 in offense and defense. Last week they lost to the Packers, but they went in the fourth quarter down 10-7. So Flacco, another week in the offense. I think he's going to connect with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a little bit more, but I definitely think the Steelers are going to win the game.
Yeah.
And as we're speaking right now, the Steelers are losing.
2017, Freiermuth just scored a touchdown. All right. Next game. Apparently, it's my Atlanta Falcons, as you like to say, at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is favored 2.5. Who are you picking?
This is interesting for me because I've had no faith in either of these teams the last couple of weeks, but they've both been showing some surprising fight. Even with all the injuries, the 49ers found a way to upset the Rams. Then last week they lose the Buccaneers, so they're 4-2 right now. The Falcons, coming off 2 upset victories in back-to-back weeks, they beat Washington and then they beat Buffalo last week in a game that we definitely thought Buffalo was going to win. Both of those games were at home, so I don't know if you can chalk that up to just home field advantage for the Falcons. But Bijan looks good. The offense finally shows some fire. But I know I mentioned in the last pick too. Their last away game was against the Panthers, and they lost 30-0. So I don't know what Falcons team is going to show up to Levi Stadium, but the 49ers have Kittle back. I'm not sure about Purdy. I'm going to say the 49ers win this game.
I'm gonna go with my Falcons. It's a pressure, even if Mac's playing. I don't know. They lost Warner, their linebacker. I mean, lose
looking
both
like the Lions
Warner.
last year.
My gosh, yeah, I don't feel bad for the Niners, but if they were a team that maybe I had some feelings for, maybe I would. But yeah, I'm going with the Falcons in this one. So we differ there. All right, there's 2 Monday Night Football games, as we mentioned earlier. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Obviously, the first one. Lions are favored by 5.5, which I think that line's pretty surprising. But what we're going to go, since we don't pick the game, we are doing the over-under. Currently, right now, it's sitting at 52.5 points. I'll go first. I think you went first last time. I'm going with, surprisingly, I'm taking the under. I think that I think the Lions are going to try to do some 10-minute drives and, just to keep our defense off the field, because that's where we're going to need it. So I think there's going to be some going for 4th downs, extended drives, except for these 10-minute drives. We're going to score in the red zone. We're not going to have a play called back by New York.
Agreed. I definitely think it's going to be a part of the game plan is having the sustained drives. But right now, the Lions average 31.8 points per game. The Bucs average 27.5. So if you're mathing right now, the average is that we score 59. So especially with the defensive injuries we're battling through with Brian Branch out, I'm thinking that we hit the over on Monday night.
Okay. It's a pretty good bet, but I'm going with the under because sometimes when it's obvious, I'm almost wanting to do the based on how we picked the last 2 weeks, it's like whatever I think is going to happen, I want to pick the opposite.
Right.
Because we are not doing very well. All right, Jacob. Next Monday Night Football game, Texans at the surprising Seahawks, playing very well. Sam Darnold is playing better than I expected him to play outside of Minnesota. So, Jacob, who you got? You got Houston or Seattle in this one?
Yeah, Seattle favored by 3.5. So, Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. The Seahawks are 5th in offense. They're 6th in defense right now. 4-2 record. One of those losses was in the final minute against the Buccaneers. So that game between the Seahawks and Tampa Bay, the Seahawks were up 28-35 with a minute left. And then somehow they lost that game 38-35. Which maybe plays into why the Lions are favored over the Buccaneers, is even with all their wins, they are all coming down to the last minute, last drive. Mm-hmm. Seattle's other loss was week 1 to the healthy 49er teams. The Texans defense, I think, is rated like number 1 right now. Their offense starting to come together. They had a big game against the Ravens, and then they had a bye last week. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's like 14-17 or like not high scoring, but I do feel like the Seahawks are going to win.
I am going opposite. I am going with the Texans. I think that they're going to get Sam Darnold seeing ghosts out there. This is the week that he looks like Sam Darnold that we know, and Houston gets some defensive pressure. That's what I'm going with, but they could be getting pressure on CJ Stroud and cause a problem the other way. But I'm going with Houston in this one. Again, I'm picking the opposite. So we'll see how it works out. We got 3 different picks this time.
So that means you can pretty much guarantee that we're both going to be wrong about Pittsburgh then. So we might as well just get on there and bet for the Bengals because we both picked the Steelers.
Hurry up. Bet on it. Bet the house right now, Jacob.
Yep.
Bet your old
So
house.
yeah, it'll be
You don't
interesting
care
on
if
the
you
other
lose
ones,
that or
though.
not.
Right.
Oh man, Bengals just got a huge play. Crazy. All right, it's gonna happen. We just spoke it into existence. All right, Jacob. It's been fun. I can't wait for this Monday night game. It's gonna be exciting and getting a little nervous just because this is a huge game. It's going into our bye. I don't want to go into the bye week with a loss thinking about that for 2 weeks. And frankly, for our podcast, we need a win because people don't listen when we lose. So I'm hoping that we get a win and everyone's happy and everyone listens.
No one likes reliving the losses.
No, they do not. But some people do. So maybe they like to hear our pain in our voice. I'm not sure. All right, Jacob. It's been a good podcast. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad I let you speak enough in this one. We'll try to keep that going, even though I think what I say is smarter than you. It is. It's still
We'll
nice
see if
to
the
hear.
ratings shoot up on this one. We'll know why.
Yeah, exactly. All the comments will shoot up. Yeah. All right. For the funny guy over there, Jacob, I'm Jason. Go Lions.